into another episode of the Clapp Trap. We are here with the Friday episode, and it has been a little bit since I've been on because, as I mentioned last Friday, I was starting to get sick, and man, did that thing kick my butt. I mean, I had no voice until about last night. I don't know. Well, we'll see if my voice holds up today. I'm still a little congested, but, it's been a rough week for the Claps in general, my wife included. Not feeling good this entire week, and it's been a rough one. But we're back, and we got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about the Bruins, the Celtics. We'll talk about the Patriots. Obviously, they were able to get the job done against the Cardinals. We had the Bruins losing a couple of games, winning a couple of games. So we got that to talk about, including the loss last night to the Kings, which was a brutal one, doing something that they haven't done all season. We're going to talk about that to start off the show. We'll get into the Celtics as well. They also had a couple of losses on their West Coast road trip and got exposed and did something that they haven't done all season. So we're going to get into that. And then Patriots, as I said, they beat Arizona. They now have what is considered to be a must-win in my book against the the Las Vegas Raiders and Josh McDaniels if they want to do anything this season. So we're going to get into all of that stuff today on the episode to wrap up the week, head into the weekend, and I'm excited for it. We're getting closer and closer to Christmas time. Hope everybody is getting their presents ready to go, their Yankee swap gifts and their ornaments all ready, lights up, all that kind of stuff. Hope you're ready to go with that. And, it's a happy time of year. Holiday season is always good for people. The weather sucks, but the season is good. The season is good. But those Bruins, like I said, that's what I want to start off with today. This Bruins team, I mean, they're still continuing to do what they do. They are battling in games, and they are, coming back in some and blowing apparently some others. Last night, you blow a game to the Kings, an LA Kings team that is not bad. They're up, I think now it's 16-12 on the season. So they're an above 500 team. They have some solid players. Obviously, we saw that last night, offensively, defensively, and they were able to do what they needed to do in Boston to pull away a win. Now, it was in the shootout once again, and it seems like one of the only ways that you can beat the Bruins is if you get them all the way to the shootout, and then you beat them in that kind of thing, the skills competition. That's how you're going to beat the Bruins right now. But it came down to that because of their third period collapse, a third period collapse that they have not done all season. They were 15-0 going into third periods with a 2-goal lead this year. Blew that one, largely in part the second goal, the tying goal, largely in part to some bad penalties, taking some bad penalties. I mean, you had the two penalties there, one by Clifton with that cross-checking, the other one by Carlo with the tripping. So not what you wanted to see there. And they weren't able to get things done. I mean, you go into the shootout, and once again, DeBrusque is one of your guys that's scoring for you. So that's another, I guess, good part of things, but tough to see. And also tough to see once again how they managed a power play opportunity in overtime. You had this, a couple of games ago where you have an overtime opportunity with a power play and you're not able to take advantage of it. A 4-on-3 for, I think it was at least a minute and 24 or something like that when you went into it, because the penalty happened at the end of the third period. And you weren't able to capitalize on that one whatsoever. You basically didn't even get a shot. I don't even know if they actually did record a shot technically in that one, but you basically didn't get a shot the entire time. You're messing around. You're trying to throw passes into areas that were just absolutely horrible. They're getting picked off left and right. So, I mean, that was a mismanagement of a power play opportunity in overtime where you could have put things away after blowing things in the third period, and you weren't able to do it. So that was frustrating right there. Once again, like I said, this is the first time that this team had given up a 2-goal lead going into the third period all season. And, you hate to see that kind of stuff. But it wasn't the only frustrating game that they've had recently. Obviously, you go back to the Coyotes game, and that one's just as frustrating, if not more. Losing in the last 13 seconds in that one, basically on a blown what you thought was going to be an icing. I guess Swayman thought that had a good chance to be an icing call. And, you got the Boston defender racing back to get the puck. It goes off of the net, not called icing. Now you got a hungry Coyotes player rushing down there to get the puck. We're looking a little lackadaisical, gets a pass out in front, and they score with 13 seconds left. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Swayman's only able to save 12 of the 16 shots that he faces. And we're all continuing to hope that Swayman is going to get better and get to that position where we thought he could be. But I don't know. Every single time now that Swayman gets in between those pipes, I'm holding my breath. That's where we're at. Because I don't really trust him this year so far. I don't know. I mean, you're talking about a goaltender who only had to save or only had 16 shots on him. And I know we talk about this sometimes, how the goaltender who's getting less action is more likely to mess up because they're a little rusty in that game at the time. You're not getting constant action, so it's harder for you to make saves because you're not ready for it, maybe, especially as a younger goaltender. So that can happen. And the other side of the net, you got the Arizona goalie saving 43 of the 46 shots that he faced. So, I mean, that guy was getting pummeled by the Bruins. And yes, the Bruins can do that from time to time where it's not like you're getting a ton of scoring opportunities. You're just getting a ton of shots, pucks on net. We do like that. I think a lot of Bruins fans like that. When you can get pucks on net, things tend to happen. And you were able to obviously score 3 times in that one against the Coyotes, but brutal loss when you're losing to a team that is considered one of, if not the worst team in the entire NHL, for things on the ice and off the ice at this point. So rough one there, but you do bounce back. You're able to get that win against the Golden Knights in Vegas. Good job on them. It's always tougher to go into Vegas and get a win because nightlife, obviously. But you're able to do everything that you need to there. Allmark solid once again, saving 30 of 31 shots. Bergeron, Coyle, and DeBrusk scoring goals. DeBrusk always loves to be able to stick it to his former coach, Bruce Cassidy, who obviously he still has thoughts about to this day. That's pretty obvious. And then you get the one against the Islanders. You come home, a little bit of home cooking. Good game against the Islanders. Good game against a good team in the Islanders. DeBrusk gets the game winner in a shootout. He also had 2 goals and an assist, so he is on fire. Yes, DeBrusk has been playing great. And yet I'm still getting the urge to want to trade him. Anyone else feeling that way right now? I know he's doing great. And yet last year, he was, up and down. Obviously, you have Bruce Cassidy, who's too mean to him, so he wants to get traded. Then he kind of goes away from that. They put him on the first line. He starts playing a lot better. He's carried that over into this year, not having to deal with Cassidy and being involved with Bergeron and Marchand. That's obviously going to make you a lot better. So he has been great lately, but yet I still want to trade him. I still want to move on from that player. Now, I know the bigger need for this team is obviously going to be a defenseman, a defensive defenseman, somebody who's going to be able to go out there and usurp maybe even like a Carlo, certainly a Clifton type, get into that top 4 defenseman and be a really solid guy for us, because you already have McAvoy, you already have Lindholm, who's playing arguably, some of the best hockey he's ever played, definitely up there as our best defenseman this year. Maybe not defensive wise, but offensively out of his mind this year. So love to have him. He was an amazing get at the trade deadline last year, but you got to add to it. You got to add to it at this point. I've been very happy, obviously, with the way that Coyle has played, Foligno, DeBrusk, and Zacha. Zacha's been amazing. You put him anywhere in the lineup. Love that guy. So happy with all the production so far, but can we get better? Can we get better? Is what the question is going to continue to be going forward as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline at the middle of the year. This team needs to be in buy mode, needs to be going after a defenseman. It needs to, I would love to. Now I'm seeing things like Jonathan Taves is maybe available, and he could be another guy that you could bring in here. And we always need center help, it seems like, on this team, even though I just mentioned to you that Coyle's been doing solid. Zacha's been doing good. You obviously have Krejci and Bergeron, so where the heck would you put a guy like Taves? But I still think that you need more depth on that offensive side, especially from a standpoint of a veteran-type guy who's been there before and knows about the moments and is going to come through and be productive in those big playoff moments. That's why I was talking about Patrick Kane before. That's another guy. He's been there. He's been in the big shining moments. And yes, he's not going to be your top line guy, but he's going to fill out the depth positions that you need in your top 6 and make you a much better team. So somebody like that over a Jake DeBrusk is much more important to me personally. Now, you could say that I'm a little biased against Jake DeBrusk just because I haven't liked his attitude and the way that he didn't like Bruce Cassidy. I was against all the guys who didn't like Bruce Cassidy, to be honest. I didn't feel like it was the right thing. Like, grow up, kind of. Just be a man and be able to handle your tough coach. DeBrusk has answered, though. He's been good with Montgomery, rah-rah Montgomery, who we all have liked what they've done on the offensive side of the puck. So happy with that. And you kept the defense and everything. But I'm still wanting to move on from him. I just feel like there's still that quit in him, that moment of being a younger player, not realizing the moments. He maybe gets punched in the mouth again, and all of a sudden he's quitting on you in playoff time. We can't have that when we get there. This is the final ride. This is the last dance. This is the whatever you want to call it to make yourself feel better about this season. This is it. This is their last chance. So you got to make it count. And I'm sorry, but Jake DeBrusk is not on my list of people that I want going full steam into a playoff run that is do or die. So I'm going to keep beating this drum no matter how good DeBrusk does, no matter how great his little body movement or body language going to shoot right, but then just throw it up over the left shoulder, shootout goals work out. Great. That's awesome. We're not going to need that in the playoffs, obviously. I don't know. He's good, and he's playing good, but that's why I think that now you capitalize on that. Just like I thought last year, you capitalized when he was actually doing good and go and get another piece that can help this team more. And I want it to be offensive. I know that defense is the number one need on this team, but I still want more help offensively because I keep having nightmares about getting into the playoffs once again and our offense just not showing up. Our offense that has been good, especially all year this year on record paces at times in the season for how good the offense has been. I am scared to death that in the playoffs, somebody's not going to show up. Multiple people are not going to show up. You're going to have to go back to the perfection line to try and get something. The second line isn't working. This is exactly what happened last year. Carolina was able to shut down the second line that we thought was going to start being good. And all of a sudden you can't score against a team like that. So I know it was only one playoff series, but that's all that matters sometimes. You need to be able to score multiple lines of production. Yes, the defense needs to be strong as well. But if you can't get that solid solid top 6, I should say, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I don't have faith in DeBrusk. Maybe I'm a little biased, like I said, against him, but I think that you need to go and get out there and get somebody who's been there before, more a veteran presence, somebody who's done it, shown that they can do it, bring him into the fold. Then you'll start to feel a lot better about this team and their chances when we get into the playoffs. Also got to get the defense, but I think that they need more on offense as well. I honestly do. So that's what the Bruins, that's a little bit of a Bruins catch up for you. Obviously, like I said, they lost last night. That was a really tough one, and they're going to move forward trying to get better and continue, raising and getting as many points as they can because teams like the Devils are not stopping. So you got to keep going. But, home ice is going to be also another thing that, as much as I've talked before about how I don't think that it matters as much in hockey, I think for this team, having that home cooking might matter a little bit. So let's get that home ice. Let's keep pushing forward and go out there and get a defenseman for us, huh, Sweeney? And maybe some offensive help too. All right, moving on now. We got another team that was just doing some up and downs recently. A couple of bad losses on the road. They went on a West Coast road trip. I'm talking about the Celtics, of course, and they were able to show us that nothing has changed when it comes to them against the Warriors. You had that Warriors game. Here we go. Now it's coming back. The coughing, everything. I'm trying as I get further and further into this episode, it's only going to get worse and worse. So I'm trying to get out all my information here, and then we'll move on. And hopefully by next week, I'll feel a lot better. But Celtics against Warriors, just kind of wrapping back up what they have been doing lately. The Celtics, that is. You go out there and you look exactly, I'm not saying anything that, people haven't already been saying all week, but you go out there and you looked exactly like you did in the finals last year against the Warriors. You were timid. You let the Splash Brothers, you let Curry do his thing. You let them defend Tatum the way that they were last year, and he had the same type of production. I'm talking 6 for 21 in this one. He did have 18 points, 7 rebounds, only 2 assists, though, in that one. I think he had 3 steals, a block. That's great and all, but this was once again another sign of Tatum when he goes up against a player like Steph Curry or these magical warriors, these guys that are living in infamy in his head. I don't know. Either it's going back to their strategy of just let's push him to his left and it's not going to work once again, or he's starting to look at these players, or he's been looking at these players across from him and saying, man, these guys, oh man, Steph Curry, he's one of the greatest shooters of all time, and he's getting in his own head about things. Whatever it is, it's got to change because he clearly wasn't in the same mindset. He was playing the same way. The entire team was playing the same way that they did against them in the finals last year, and he can't have that going forward. You can't have that if you want to be a championship team this year, because who knows, you could be seeing that Warriors team once again in the finals, because we know that they know how to turn it on when it matters, and they're probably going to be there. They're probably going to be in the top 10 teams in the West and get into the dance, and then they'll turn it on, and then they'll start to make a run, and then who knows, before you know it, it could be another possible matchup of Celtics against the Warriors this year. So you got to figure that out, Tatum, and you got to be able to handle them in a 7-game series if you're going to try and get over that hump and finally win that championship that you guys are talking about. So that was a rough game there, but then you follow it up with another rough game against the Clippers. I'm talking lowest scoring total of the entire season. First time under 100 points for the Celtics. They only scored 93 points against that Clippers team. And yes, of course, they are good defensively, the Clippers. When you have a Kawhi Leonard, whenever he's healthy, whenever he's out there, he's not load management. Kawhi Leonard is a dominant player defensively and can really, muddy the waters against any team that he plays against. So obviously not playing good there. Tatum, once again, not that good of a shooting night, 7 for 20 shooting. He had a 20, 11 rebound and 4 assist game, a couple of more assists, but still the team wasn't on par with a Clippers team. You could talk to me about the West Coast road trip as much as you want, and the fact that they had to be out there and they're back to back and they're, not sleeping in their own place and all that kind of stuff. But it seems like they just didn't show up. And it seems like the defensive problems with this team reared its ugly head once again, because you not only weren't scoring, but you couldn't play defense against these teams, against this Clippers squad, against that Warriors team. That was our calling card last year. This year, obviously, it's the offense. And things are going to have to change on that, because once you get into the playoffs, that's when defense is going to matter the most. Regular season stuff, I get it, from night to night. You don't have to care as much about that. If you could score 115 to 120 points a game, you're going to win 90% of your games in the regular season. It's just going to go like that because you're going to be playing against subpar competition majority of the time. It's when you play against those playoff teams, those Clippers, those Warriors teams, when you need to be able to play the defense, you need to find a way to lock them down. And they weren't able to do it in these ones. And that's the major reason why you lost. Not only the shooting woes, but the defense is what's the problem here. So, upsetting to see those back-to-back losses, and you're kind of exposing this Celtics team. They're not invincible. They're not, they're not this juggernaut team that everybody was talking about them as. They still need to learn how to play defense again this year and get that better. And obviously the addition of Time Lord is going to be helpful coming up. But man, it was a little bit of getting exposed that happened in that one. Then you go and play the Lakers, right? And the Lakers and LeBron James smelled blood in the water, and you could see that he was trying his damnedest to get that win for the Lakers. They were able to come back in the third quarter. They blew your entire lead out of the water. They got up as much as 13 points in that game above the Celtics. Excuse me. They were able to do that. They went on they got up on you 106 to 93 with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. Boston went on a 17-4 run that capped off with a Tatum 17 seconds left jumper over LeBron James, which, let's talk about that for a second. I mean, I understand that it looks cooler to do the fadeaway jumper and everything, the dribble move into LeBron's face, turn around, jump in, falling away, and hits the shot. I get it. It looks a heck of a lot cooler. It's a much better highlight move than just trying to drive to the hoop and get fouled. But what are we doing? Why do we have to do that, Tatum? Why do we? I get it. You're all about the flash, and you always want to get up when you're playing against LeBron. That's pretty obvious, and you did in this one. You had a stat line of 44 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists in this overtime game. He shot 15 of 29 in this one. Great job by Tatum. He was on fire. He got up against this Lakers squad and wanted to show LeBron what he could do. But why do you have to do the fadeaway jumper thing? Why is that? I know that's just the NBA nowadays. I get it. That's how it is. It just feels like, even with Jason Tatum, one of arguably the best shooters in the game right now, MVP candidate, all of that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that big players do. But I wish it felt like you needed to do it more. You know what I mean? Like, I wish there was 2 defenders there that was forcing him into that kind of a shot, rather than just LeBron in a situation where you could maybe pass it back to him, drive to the lane, try and get fouled. Oh, man. Try and get fouled, maybe lay it up for an and one, something like that. That would have been the smarter decision, but he does his thing. He's able to hit the shot. Happy to see that, obviously. Force it into overtime. They're able to take care of business in overtime. And that was great. That was a great job, and you needed that win as the Celtics to get things back on track. Also in this one, you had a big shot out of Marcus Smart late in that big run, big 3-pointer out of him. And I'm starting to see all these people, Greeny, Barstool Greeny, especially out there pumping his chest, being like, who doesn't want to see Marcus Smart shooting in clutch moments, huh? Who is it? Who's out there? You can't be feeling good now, blah, 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 all this stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I want him shooting a shot when he's completely wide open for 3 at a crucial point in the game. I want anyone basically on that Celtics team. There's a very few. The list of people that I wouldn't want shooting a completely wide open 3-point jumper in a big moment like that is very small on this Celtics team. I'm sorry. That's just everybody on the team. If you have a completely wide open 3-point shot, please take that shot. Okay. I get that. Analytics, whatever. Please take that shot. That's what you have to do that. I don't want to see Marcus Smart shooting in clutch moments when he's trying to create his own shot, or he's forcing up a 3. He's doing something like that. I would rather anyone else on the team try and force up a shot. Tatum, Brown, give me Derek White, give me, Brogdon, obviously. Any of these players having to force up a shot and try and create their own shot, sure, go for it. Marcus Smart, that's when I'm yelling at my TV. No, please don't do it. So I get it. You want to get hype for your guy in Marcus Smart. And obviously we need him, and we need a lot of different things out of him. And of course, I'm going to want him to shoot when he's completely wide open. Sure. But don't try and act like those are the moments that we're getting pissed off about when we're getting pissed off at Marcus Smart. The moments where we're getting pissed off is when he's going out there and he's got a defender in his face and he's still trying to jack up that 3 because he thinks he can actually shoot that way. Or he's trying to, do a dribble move and maybe get fouled or something, or do something silly when he could be passing the ball. Those are the moments when you're yelling at Marcus Smart, not when he's completely wide open. So that was a terrible hill to die on, if you ask me. I'm so glad that he hit the shot, and I wanted him to shoot it. But don't try and compare that to when he's just trying to force up his own shots, create his own, scoring opportunities late in the game in clutch moments, things like that. Don't try and compare those two, because it's not the same. It's not the same. Oh boy, that was gross. I don't know how to say that in any other way other than just, stop getting hyped over Marcus Smart for hitting a wide open shot. That's just he should be able to do that. He should be able to do that. But the takeaways that I've got from this team right now is they are certainly not invincible. They need to play better defense. People are getting pissed off at Mazzulla for his timeouts or lack thereof timeouts, which I understand that he's just trying to let them fight through in moments and things like that. I don't know if it really matters. I think that at the end of the day, we're going back to, this is the type of team where it's up to Tatum and Jaylen Brown as to what they're going to do. And mostly Tatum, because they are the real coaches of this team. I mean, sorry, Joe, but you don't really matter that much. Mazzulla, the timeout thing, I get it. People are getting upset. His strategy is one of those analytical strategies where it's better most of the time to let them fight through it than to take a timeout, especially on the road, let the road crowd get pumped up and everything like that. That it's smarter for you to go out there and just allow your team to keep playing in those moments. That's what he's going with. And I think that that's a good idea. Stick with letting your players make the decisions. Your players go out there and try and win you that game, because that's how this team is built right now, and that's what's gotten them to this record. So let it keep going. Keep rolling that dice, I think, as far as I'm concerned. The defense is a major problem with this team, obviously. That seems to be the major issue right now. Obviously, they are scoring well. It's just we gotta play defense better in these big moments against these teams that can score and can defend against you, because that's obviously when you need to win a game that's under 100 points, and you need to hold the other team to under 100 points because you can't score that many. This team can't really do that right now, I don't think. So we'll see how the Rob Williams coming back thing helps. I'm assuming that it will help some, but it'll also make things more difficult on the scoring side of things, because opening up the floor, spacing the floor with Rob Williams on there is not going to happen as much. Obviously, he needs to bang down low and always be in that paint and everything like that and clog up the lanes and things like that. He's not really the one to help you space the floor. That's obviously not going to happen. So Rob Williams will be an interesting thing. We get to see him tonight. I'm excited about it. I'm happy that he's back. I hope that he'll be back for a long time at the remainder of the season. I hope no more injuries. Please, knock on wood. We'll see how things go. Excited to see how they play against the Magic. Excited to see Bol too on the Magic. You guys been seeing that guy, Bol? If you don't know about Bol, he's the son of Manute Bol. Very tall, lanky guy, but he can shoot threes. He can kind of dribble too. I think he's like 7'4" or something, the lankiest mofo going out there. And he is an interesting one to watch. So we'll see how he's doing. He's been playing really great lately. He'll be an interesting player to watch on a very bad Magic team if you're going to watch that game. It's going to be an interesting one. And then they might go and get that Wadabayo, or what, I don't know how to pronounce who's the new big, tall, lanky guy who's even taller than Bol and doing the same exact things. He's going to be the one coming into the league next year, and he might go to the Orlando Magic. You might have two of the same exact type of player on the same team. That could be interesting. That could be interesting going forward. All right, we got one last thing to talk about, and that is the Patriots. We're going to talk really quickly about this one. Obviously, everything has been gone over all week. They were able to beat that Cardinals team basically because the Cardinals shot themselves in the foot. You were able to come back. You had a lot of crazy stuff going on with Mac Jones, obviously freaking out once again. It looked like he was telling Matt Patricia to just shut the F up and get out of his head while he was in the game. A lot of people are freaking out saying that, oh, Mac's throwing too many tantrums. You can't be doing that on, national television, throwing your coaches under the bus. But why? Why not? Why not get him fired up? Why not get fiery about what's going on when you know for a fact that your coach is sucking at his job and sucking at play calling for you? Why not when you know every single time Matt Patricia is just going to say, I want to throw a screen to the right, or I want to throw a screen to the left. That's basically all he's trying to do right now. So Mac is trying to throw the ball down the field. He's trying to get chunk plays. He's trying to involve all of his players and do what he can. And you got Matt Patricia calling in from the sidelines saying, hey, just run another screen, run the ball, whatever. And Mac is pretty fed up with that. So I don't see any problems with him getting fired up. And I don't see any problems with, in all honesty, him saying to a Matt Patricia to shut the hell up, because I don't think that Matt Patricia knows what he's talking about. So I'm okay with it. Yeah, I get that he sounds kind of like a whiny baby out there because he's a young kid and he's yelling at the coaches like, he probably shouldn't be. But I don't know. When you're in these kind of positions, you're in these must-win situations, and you're just getting from the coach on the sideline, throw a screenplay. Like, why wouldn't you be frustrated as a quarterback? Somebody who last year was able to throw the ball down the field even with McDaniels than he is this year with Patricia, even though McDaniels didn't trust him. So, I don't know. It was a good job of holding on to it at the moment, and as Patriots players, not letting yourself make the big dumb decision like the Cardinals basically did, which it happened earlier in the game when you decided to go for it on a fourth down instead of kicking a field goal. Patriots able to get the stop, and then from then on out are able to just dominate the rest of the way. It's just, you know, I don't know. Do I have faith in this team to be able to do anything in the playoffs? No. Do I have faith in this team that they'll actually even make the playoffs? No. But if we're going to be here and if we're going to be in these games and going to have opportunities to win these games, why not try and go win the game? I know that the strategy has been stay in it because you got a good defense and they're going to keep holding the other team to a lower score, and you'll be in it. You'll have another chance. You'll have another chance. But then eventually it gets to the point where you're running out of chances at the end of the game, and they're still making the same type of play calls over and over again. They're not trying to move the ball down the field. They're not trying to get the big chunk play. They're not trying to go out there and score touchdowns. They're playing for field goals, and you're just not going to win games that way. Even against these bad teams, even when you're about to play the Raiders, I think that you have to go out there and you need to be able to score touchdowns, because you know what's coming right around the corner? The Bengals and the Dolphins and the Bills. And you think that you're going to be able to beat those teams without scoring touchdowns? I don't. So sure, maybe against the Cardinals, you think they're going to shoot themselves in the foot and you'll be able to get an easy win because of that. And they did. And you were able to handle things there. But still, I think that this team needs to get going on scoring touchdowns. And I am completely okay with Mac Jones freaking out about things because I think he's right. I think a lot of people think he's right, that Matt Patricia doesn't know what he's doing. And as much as he sounds like a whiny baby, Mac Jones does, when he does this kind of stuff, it's not like it's coming from a place that's wrong. It's just not. It's really not. All right. Oh, man. I can't really talk much more. I'm about to start coughing up things right in your face at this point, and that would be disgusting. So I'm gonna cut it off before that happens. We got the big Patriots game coming up against the Raiders. It's a must win if you ask me, because they need to win these two games before, as I mentioned, you're going to go against the gauntlet that is the Bengals, the Dolphins, and the Bills, which you probably won't win any of those games. So if you could somehow get to 8-6 right now, still have a chance, and then maybe steal one from one of those guys, who knows? Who knows what could happen? But it doesn't feel right for the Patriots right now, and it doesn't feel right in my throat. I'm too congested right now. This is ridiculous. All right. I just want to say thank you to anyone for tuning in. I will be back again next week, hopefully feeling a heck of a lot better and ready to give you more sports takes throughout the week. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We will see you later. Bye. All right, it's time for the gambling competition. And though we don't have that great of records, I mean, things are heating up. Things are actually heating up. And I guess, you know, Cam just gave you a full card 5-0 week last weekend, so he's doing good. Mendez was 4-2. Those guys are both getting close to 500 on the season again, so they're doing hot. I was 2-3 once again. I just can't put together a winning week, so I take that for what it is. Hopefully I can turn things around. I don't know. Frost also fell off once again with a 1-4. I think he is pretty much donezo at this point as far as the competition goes. It's going to be hard for him to make up an 8-game lead at this point, even with a couple of weeks left to go. So we'll see how things go. It might turn into a two-man competition between Cam and Mendez. I think it's worth following them along. They've been doing good so far. Mendez sticking with his player props. Cam's doing good with his picks on NFL. Now he went 5-0, like I said last weekend. So we'll see how things go in this one. We're going to start off with my picks as always to get it going. I have Frost picks as well, and then we have a couple of voicemails to get into. So here we go. My first pick of the weekend is going to be Bills, Dolphins, under 44 points. That's a Saturday night game. We got Saturday football this weekend. It's going to be fun. Figured I'd throw in some bets on it. I'm going with this one because it's supposed to be a snow game. I think it's going to be enough snow that it's going to affect the game, but not too much snow where they'll move the game like the last time this happened with the Bills. Supposedly upwards of 8 or 9 inches of snow coming down during this one. So I'm thinking that it's going to be tough for the Dolphins to move the ball. I think that the Bills will be tough to move the ball as well. So I'm sticking with the under 44 in this one. Bills are also a 7-point favorite. I think that it's going to be a tough divisional matchup in the snow. So give me under 44 points in the Bills-Dolphins game to start things off. Pick number 2 for me is going to be Chiefs, Texans, under 49 points in this one. This is a ton of points. Chiefs are 2 touchdown favorites, minus 14 in this game. Chiefs are going to get out big in this one. Texans are not going to score this time, unlike how I tried to pick against that in the last week when they were playing against the Cowboys. They randomly scored 25 points in that one, completely ruined the under in my thoughts of the Cowboys just dominating the Texans. It's not going to happen again here. The Chiefs are going to dominate. The Texans are not going to score a lot of points. They got that Driscoll guy who's half tight end, more Jason or Taysom Hill type role for the Texans. I don't think that's going to work out for them. So I'm taking under 49 points in the Chiefs-Texans game for pick number 2. Pick number 3. Patriots +1 at the Raiders. It's a must-win game here. You could say maybe I'm betting with my heart in this one. These are the kind of games that the Patriots need to win, and I think they can still win. Coming off of a good win against the Cardinals, you're going up against Josh McDaniels. Everyone in the Patriots has been circling this game for a while. I know that the Raiders, at least McDaniels, has 2. It's going to be a battle of old coaches together. And I think that the Patriots are going to be able to take this one out. So I'll take the +1 Patriots at the Raiders for my 3rd pick. Pick number 4, Bengals Buccaneers. Over 44 points in this one. I know the Bucs haven't been scoring a lot. They've looked like doo-doo, in all honesty, in these last couple of games. But I think they're going to be able to score a little bit against this Bengals team. And I think the Bengals offense is hitting its stride. They're doing what they need to do. I think that these teams cover the over 44. Buccaneers trying to hold on, get back into the game, maybe get some garbage scores here. Bengals doing their thing. Give me over 44 points in Bengals Bucks for my 4th pick. My last pick, we're going with the Monday night game. It's Rams Packers under 39.5 points. You got Baker Mayfield coming off of an amazing come from behind performance, and he's going to be in the cold Lambeau Field weather where I don't think it's going to snow, but it's going to be in the low 20s to maybe the teens in this one. I think that the Packers are going to do enough to win the game. I think that the Rams are not going to be able to do anything with Baker. I just don't feel like he's going to do good in the second game on the road in the cold weather. That's how I'm feeling. So I'll take under 39.5 points in the Monday night game, Rams Packers, for my 5th pick in the competition this weekend. Those are my picks. Now let's get into Matt's picks next. All right, he is starting off with Falcons Saints under 43.5 points in that game. An interesting one for him there. Obviously, a divisional matchup. He's thinking it's going to stay under. Next, he's going with those Cowboys -4 at the Jacksonville Jaguars, thinking that obviously the Cowboys are going to bounce back off of a tough game against the Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars coming off of a big win. I'm guessing he thinks that the Cowboys are going to be able to hold strong there. Next game he's going with is Lions +1.5 at the Jets. Lions have been on a roll lately. Jets, I mean, it looks like Mike White's going to start, but they have a little bit of questions at injured quarterback there. Who knows what's going to happen? The Lions defense stinks, but their offense has been solid once again. So he is taking Lions +1.5 at the Jets for his 3rd pick. His 4th pick is going to be Raiders -1 at home against New England. Obviously, he's thinking the Patriots coming off a win where maybe they shouldn't have had one that game. And he thinks that the Raiders are going to be able to take care of business at home in this one. So he's taking Raiders -1 at home against New England. Last pick for Matt is going to be Chargers -3 at home against the Titans. Another one there where he feels like the Chargers are heating up. The Titans are iffy. He'll take the Chargers in that one. So those are Matt's picks. As I said, he went 1-4 last week. And I don't think that he's in a good spot, but we'll see if he can turn things around, try and get you some winners towards the end, try and make that record, that's all season-long record, a little bit better. I'm in the same boat with him. Let's get to the people who are actually giving you good picks. We'll start off with Cam's picks first. Here we go.
Hey, y'all, it's Cam here with the picks for the week. We got all of them in the NFL again, all on Sunday. We'll start with the Falcons +4 against the Saints. I think there's a good chance that Desmond Ridder is better than Marcus Mariota, and the Saints are not that good in general. So I'll take the points there. With the Jaguars +4 against the Cowboys, I think Trevor Lawrence is playing really well. And the Cowboys have a lot of injuries on defense, but I don't think it's as good as it's been for most of the Cardinals have a backup quarterback anyway, so I think the best unit on the field by far is the Broncos defense. Next is the Titans +3. They're much better as an underdog than a favorite. And I think Henry can run all over the terrible Chargers run defense. And last is the Giants +4.5 against Washington. These teams just tied like 2 weeks ago. And now I just think the number is too big. The Giants are going to play better on the road at home than they do. I mean, so to recap, we got the Falcons +4, Jaguars +4, Broncos -3, Titans +3, and Giants +4.5.
All right, there you go. You got an excited hey y'all, it's Cam coming off the 5-0 week. You got to start riding with Cam right now. He's heating up and trying to take this competition by storm at this point. You heard his picks. He's got some good ones there, and I think that he's going to continue placing well going forward. But we got somebody else who's fighting with him, and that's Mendez. Let's get to his picks next.
All right, Clappy, week 15, second take, pressures on. Try to get through these quick. First play, Miles Sanders over 70.5. Rushing yards for Chicago. Eagles, I think they'll jump out to an early lead. Miles has been on fire lately. Bears are terrible against the run. I like them to hit that. Second play, Justin Herbert over 290.5 passing yards for Titans. Titans half funnel defense, banged up. Herbert has all his weapons back. Looked good last week. They're kind of rolling. I like that. Third play, James Cook over 10.5 receiving yards for Dolphins. Saturday night game in the snow, windy. I like Josh Allen. A lot of short passes, a lot of dump off. I like Cook to hit that. Fourth play, Saquon Barkley under 65.5 rushing yards versus Washington. Washington D-line healthy, one of the best in the NFL. Giants are all banged up. Saquon hasn't hit that line in like 4 or 5 games. I'll just keep hammering that. And then my fifth play is Isaiah Pacheco over 76.5 rushing yards versus the Texans. Again, Texans good against the pass, terrible against the run. I think Mahomes will get up on them early, and then they'll just pound the ball to Pacheco the rest of the game. All right, buddy.
All right, there you go. Those are Mendez's picks. He was actually at work. That's why you don't get – he was kind of like keeping it on the DL right there while he was trying to get his picks in. So I appreciate that out of him. Like I said, he is in the competition right with Cam, only a half game back on there as Cam sits at 33, 36-1, and Mendez is at 32-38. He's only a half game back for first place. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be an interesting end to the competition. We got a couple of weeks left to go as we go to the end of the regular season. So stick with us on those picks. Either fade or follow. Probably fading Matt and I, and you're following along with Mendez and Cam. Try and win you some money as we keep going here. But that'll do it for today's show. Just want to say thank you for everyone who tuned in to the podcast, to the YouTube episode, anyone who follows along with the gambling competition. We have a lot of fun doing it. I hope you guys have a lot of fun listening to it. All right, we'll be back again next week. See you guys later.